Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Friday market update. So, is the free money almost gone? More on that in a minute. Hey, everybody. Bill Gaylord here with your Friday mortgage update. So, we saw a slight uptick in mortgage rates this week. Nothing dramatic came out. There just wasn't much meaningful economic data that was released. But next week could be a bit of a different story. We've got another inflation report coming. And as you know, the Fed watches that super closely. If it comes in hot or cold, it could absolutely move the market and affect mortgage rates. That is a key factor that drives the rate. So now here's the numbers that I really want you to pay attention to. So purchase applications jumped 9% last week. That's a pretty big move. And what it tells me is this: we hit a psychological threshold. So rates dropped down last week to about 6.75, just enough to get buyers to start paying attention again. They're watching, they're ready, they're waiting for a reason to jump in. And I believe if we see conventional rates hit 6.5%, we're going to see a real wave of activity. And here's why. That rate level will likely bring FHA and VA loans into the high fives. Can you see a number of a 5 in an interest rate? That would be a super powerful mental number for first-time home buyers. It changes affordability, confidence, and comfort all in one shot. We're not that far away. There is a huge correlation between interest rates and purchase applications. Simply put, when rates drop, purchase applications go up, and they can go up faster when we hit some of those psychological numbers, such as a 6.5%, showing a trend downward. We're not that far away. So let's talk about the free money window. And why do I call it free money? Why is this moment so special in this particular market? So here's the magic in the market right now. And it's something I really want you to pass along to your buyers. We are in a super rare moment where sellers, especially those sitting on a big pile of cash in the equity in their home that they purchased 5 years ago, are willing to give away free money. I'm talking about $10,000 to $15,000 and more sometimes in closing cost help to pay directly to the buyer at the closing table. It's free money. This isn't a rebate. It's not a gimmick. It's real money, hard-earned cash, and it's helping buyers get into houses with less cash out of pocket. Why would a buyer pass on this opportunity? But here's the warning, and you need to say this clearly to your clients. When rates drop, the free money diminishes and eventually goes away. Sellers don't mind offering concessions right now, but when multiple offers come, then they're going to start saying, I don't need to give the cash up. That generosity disappears. And the buyers who waited, they'll be on their own saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Once again, I should have taken that free money. The reality of saving $12,000, it's just not that easy. It's one of the biggest hurdles for home buyers. Home buyers can struggle enough just to save money for the down payment, let alone saving another $10,000 to $12,000 for closing costs. Sellers right now are giving that money directly to the home buyer to buy their home. They want to move on to the next house so they can take advantage of that seller. So let's be honest here. Most people can't save $1,000 a month in their budget. Some months, even $500 is a stretch, depending upon the household budget. So saving $12,000 for closing costs, it's a tough nut to swallow. That's an entire year's worth of hard saving just to get into the market. And that's assuming nothing goes wrong. No car repairs, no medical bills, no life surprises. But right now, that money is being handed to them. Imagine going to buy a car and the dealership says, hey, here's $12,000 towards your purchase. Would you say, nah, I'll come back when I have to pay full price again? Of course not. That's in the market that we're in right now. So that's what we're looking at in today's real estate. And it's not going to last. So let's talk about the monthly payment, which is the buyer's biggest pain point. I hear this all the time. Bill, what about the monthly payment if I buy now versus later? They're concerned about monthly payment. It's the biggest pain point. So let's do the math. So if you had a $400,000 loan at 7% interest, the principal and interest payment would be $2,661. If the rate drops 1% down to 6%, the payment goes down to $2,398 per month. That's a difference of $263 per month. Okay, it's significant. It hurts the pocketbook of the home buyer. But if they have to continue to save money and they have to save $1,000, they're going to have to save this anyway. So if the seller is giving you $12,000 today, how long would it take you to save that money with the monthly difference in the payment? If you're going to save money anyway, why don't you apply it to the building of equity in your home? That $263 higher payment is actually going to pay down the mortgage on your house. It is forced savings. So it goes to pay down the principal. So almost 4 years, that's 45 months of paying $263 extra a month into savings to get that $12,000, and they're handing it to you today. And again, that doesn't include what happens to home prices. They could go up. When rates drop, prices will almost certainly go up. That $400,000 home, it might turn into $420,000, $440,000. So even if you get a lower rate, you'll pay more overall and you'll get no help from the seller. Those incentives will go away. So can anyone really time the market? It's almost impossible. So let's talk a little bit about strategy. So a lot of people are trying to time the market. They want to wait for the bottom. They're waiting for the herd to jump in and get the low rate. Let me just say this clearly. Timing the market is nearly impossible. Nobody knows the exact bottom or the exact top, not even Wall Street pros. And even if you guess right on the rate, you'll probably miss on the price or the competition or the inventory. Real estate isn't about perfect timing. It's about long-term thinking. Most buyers look today. They look right now. What's my budget today? And they don't look at the long-term investment. Real estate is a 7 to 10 year investment. Buyers need to look at that bigger picture, not just what's happening this week or this month. If they buy smart, even if the payment is a little uncomfortable now, they'll look back in 5 years and be glad they took the action. The buyer's mortgage payment is the highest it will ever be purchasing in today's market. Here's a mindset shift that buyers need to hear. The mortgage payment they make today almost certainly will be the highest it will ever be. Why is that? Because they'll likely have a refinance opportunity when the rates come down. And when the rates do come down, they can lower their payment and potentially remove mortgage insurance, which will lower their payment even more, especially if their home goes up in value. Now that's the power of appreciation and the equity working in their favor. So can they say the same thing about rent? Will the landlord call them next year and say, hey, good news, I'm lowering your rent? Good luck with that. So many long-term renters in this that have benefited from being in a property long-term, some of those landlords are now starting to sell the property. I just had a client call me. I've been in this house 7 years. They're selling the house. I got to find a new rental. I think I'm going to buy because their rent will most certainly go up with a new landlord. That landlord wants a return on the investment. And guess what? Your rent is going to go up to the market rent, or you may have to find another property to rent. Rents generally almost always go in one direction, up. So the buyer demand is lurking. It is pent up and supply isn't ready. We've got another big force building behind the scenes, and that's pent up demand. The median age, it's crazy to me. The median age of a first-time home buyer is now 38 years old. Is that going to reach 40? These are people with families, with kids. They've got jobs. They're not just window shopping. They're serious buyers, and they're tired of renting. While home inventory is currently up over the last couple of years, that will quickly reverse course when the rates drop. So right now, the buyer has the advantage. It's a buyer's market because everybody that is a buyer is kind of scared to jump in. They're waiting for everybody else to jump in. And when everybody else jump in, it's too late. Those that buy now, the smart buyers that buy now, have the pick of the litter. They can choose the right house. They can choose the right incentive from the seller. Now, add to that the fact that we are 3 to 5 million homes short in this country, we're not building fast enough to catch up to the household growth. Even with a recent increase in the inventory, we're still in a long-term supply crunch. So what happens when rates drop and millions of buyers rush in, but there aren't enough homes? Guess what? Prices go up, and the smart buyer who bought before the wave, they win. Agents, be the guide. Let's work together. So here's the ask to all my realtor partners and friends. Be the expert. Be the voice of reason. Be the guide. Your buyers are looking to you for answers, and this is the story they need to hear. If you need to have a conversation with me, and I'll lean on them as well, I'll walk them through the math. I'm very much data oriented, and I'll help with the script. I'll explain the why. We have to show why they should buy, not how they should buy. And the best way to refer me, super easy. Just send me a group text with your client and me, and I'll jump in and take it from there. I'll take great care of them and we'll make you look like a rock star. So here's my final thought. Be the buffalo and charge into the storm. You know, I talk about that buffalo a lot. This moment will not last forever. We're seeing trends down in interest rates slowly but surely. The government wants them to go down. They don't want them to go up. They're going to do what they can to try and bring them down. We have a narrow window right now where sellers are helping. They're giving their cash away. Rates are going to get more attractive, and buyers have more negotiating power now than they have in the last few years. So let's help people act now before that free money is gone and the market shifts again. Be the expert, be the guide, and as always, be the buffalo. Face that storm and charge through it. I've got your back. Remember, I'm available from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., 363 and a half days a year, only off on Christmas and a half day off for the Super Bowl. I work when you work. So I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. This is Gaylord, out.